be shooting and editing video for them. We're going to be competing with some very noisy aircraft out there a little bit, so we'll do the best we can here. The first thing I want to talk about is, and I lost my notepad here. Oh well. The first thing I want to do is talk about is shooting video. And I fly an Legal Eagle, which is a pretty slow, open airplane. I've been shooting video for many years, mainly with GoPro cameras. And I can mount a camera almost anywhere on my airplane, which is really neat. And I am constantly trying new locations to mount cameras on my airplane. Now, one of the things, when you're flying an airplane and you're shooting video from that airplane, you've always got to keep safety as your top priority. Because I've known several people in my life that have been holding video cameras, shooting video of something on the ground, and they become part of something on the ground. And my theory is you set the camera and you turn it on and you go fly. You forget about the camera, you got to concentrate on flying. Very seldom do I ever pay attention to the camera when I'm flying. The only exception to that is I have a chase cam, which is a little device that follows me. And when I'm using it, I have to use the Wi-Fi or the Bluetooth to see what the camera's seeing, because when you reel it out behind you, it may or may not even see your airplane. And so you have to see it. But once I get it in position, then I forget about it. I don't pay any more attention to it until I get ready to land, and I pull it in. Now, as you're shooting video, you need to make sure that your camera equipment is going to stay on the airplane. Every once in a while, I hear about people losing cameras. Well, if you lose the camera and it hits something on the airplane, you can create some problems. Or the other thing that can happen is it can hit something on the ground. And you don't want to damage your neighbor when you're out enjoying life. So you always want to have safety as a top priority. Now, the different types of mounts that are used on the airplane, everybody has different ideas. And if you look out here at the STLL aircraft, the ultralight aircraft, a lot of aircraft out here have ultralight or have a camera mounted on them. Now, there's about as many variations of mounting a camera to an airplane as you can imagine. Some airplanes lend themselves very well to store-bought mountings. In my case, I build most of my mounts because I try different things and put them in different places. And I also have several manufactured mounts. But the thing that happens is getting the camera mounted so that you minimize vibration. Fortunately, the newer cameras, the vibration, the stabilization is considerably better than it was a few years ago. The original cameras back in the 2012, 2015, on my little Legal Eagle, the only place I could get guaranteed to get a good video was I had that camera mounted to myself. And what happens is your body dampens out all those vibrations. Now, with the newer cameras, I can mount them almost anywhere and get real good quality video. And the half VW, especially on the front of the Legal Eagle, you end up with some real serious power pulses which transmit to the airplane, which transmits to very bad shaky video. The newer cameras, I haven't had a shaky video in a long time. The only time I've had a shaky video was a couple of times when I had one of my GoPros mounted way out on the long pole. And one of the things I get asked a lot is, do I buy my mounts or how do I get the mounts? And mounts, you can spend a few dollars, you can make them yourself, you can spend thousands of dollars for mounts. And on my particular airplane, one of the most cost-effective universal mounts I found is this little thing right here. It clamps onto tubes up to 1.5 inches in diameter. It's got a swivel on the top of it, and it's got a thread. So you have to use an adapter to go between this and the camera, but you can mount it almost anywhere. It clamps on. I've never gotten, these never moved. I got that on Amazon for about $20. And I carry this one and another one that's similar in my camera bag at all times. And I have swivel mounts where I mount cameras off to the side or up high or underneath. And those are homemade mounts. And on an open frame machine like I fly, you can mount cameras on about any tube on the machine and mount anywhere from just above the landing gear, the axles, all the way to the tail of the airplane. Some video comes out better than others, but a lot of airplanes you've got to attach a mount of some kind onto the aluminum or whatever the structure is. And whatever you do, you just want to make sure it's going to stay there in your flight. Now, one of the things in shooting video, you need to practice because, one of the things I always try to do is use multiple cameras. And I may not have two good cameras, but I'll try to get my desired shot with one of my good cameras, and I'll take an older camera and mount it somewhere else. Because a lot of times, something will happen. The camera will shut off, it'll move, you won't quite have it aimed right, and you end up in a situation where you might have good video, but it don't show the whole picture that you wanted to show. And with the multiple cameras, at least you haven't wasted your time and effort. But you want to practice and understand what that camera's seeing, what the mounting is going to be like, what the quality of that video is going to be before you try to go out and get that sunset or whatever you're really trying to get a picture of. One of the most important things before you start shooting video is you need to understand what you're trying to achieve. It's easy to put a camera on an airplane and go out and fly for 40 hours. You got 40 hours of video, but what are you trying to achieve with that video? What story are you trying to tell? It's better to plan what your story is going to be. For instance, a sunset. There's been some beautiful sunsets lately, so I want to go get a beautiful sunset from my airplane. Well, if you plan that, decide where you're going to mount your cameras, maybe fly a time or two just kind of as a test and see what kind of results you're going to get. One of the things that happens a lot of times is you'll, for instance, the sunset. You'll go up, everything will be great, you'll be flying towards the sunset, you will get an absolutely perfect shot. Except, you might need to fly a longer time duration directly or in whatever heading you're flying to get that shot you really want. If you were shooting still pictures, you're in great shape. But you may be flying a heading and you only fly that heading for a few seconds and then you change your heading slightly. Well, one of the reasons you need to practice is you need to understand how long do I need to remain on point to get the video I want. And one of the things I try to do is, no matter what shot it is, I try to get at least 15 to 20 seconds in that direction. Now on my slow airplane, that's easy to do. If you're flying a 300 mile an hour airplane and you want to get 15, 20 seconds of video looking at the sunset, you're going to cover a lot of distance. So you need to know before you go get that picture what you're going to do. And you need to understand the story you're trying to tell. Sometimes people are trying to tell the story of someone's first flight or the story of whatever it may be, but you need to take and shoot your video with that story in mind and work towards telling that story. Now, sometimes you'll be telling a story where you need multiple cameras, maybe one forward, one back, one to the side. Something I carry with me sometimes is a camera on a cord around my neck. Now, I'm flying an open airplane, so if I let go of that camera, it's gone forever. So I have a cord on my neck, so if I happen to let go of it or it slips, it'll still be attached. But what I do is if I run into something that I need to, maybe I'm overflying something. Wow, that's really neat and pretty down below me. Well, if I've got all my cameras looking forward, it's kind of hard to go straight down. But it's real handy to have my other camera around my neck. I turn it on, and I have it set to where I can just push one button and turn it on, and then I can hold it while I'm flying and get some video. Sometimes it comes out real good. Sometimes I pick up things like landing gear, and it doesn't come out so good. But that's an option in an more open airplane, or where you have access to the outside of the airplane real easy. You need pictures from the back. Anyway, you have to understand the story you're trying to sell. The cameras themselves, I've been using GoPro ever since the original Hero. My latest camera I have is a GoPro 12. And there is a huge difference between the cameras. The 5s I thought were great, but then the 7s come out and it was better. I have a 10, and it's a great camera, but the battery don't last too long. Well, the 12 is an even better camera, and the battery lasts quite a long time. Now, I do not update my cameras every year. I try to do it every other year. And the GoPro, if you're shooting through a propeller, you need an ND filter on it. Otherwise, you get propeller blur, that propeller doing strange things up there. This particular camera that's on this video up here, that's on the screen, does have an ND filter on it. But I haven't used it for a while, and it's not really doing exactly what I would like it to do. Now, the camera I've been experimenting with for most of this year is an Insta360 X3, one of the 360-degree cameras. And those are real nice cameras, but from a standpoint of flying and taking a video and converting it to something I can put on YouTube, it takes a lot more time, because you've got to basically go through and determine what you want that camera looking at. I'll see if I can close out of this. My computer won't like me right now. The 360 camera, I'll show you a little bit of what that looks like. And the 360 camera, this is some of the neat stuff you can do with something like that. The problem is, when you're getting ready to process this so you can make a YouTube video, when you have a 20 or 30 minute or an hour long video, you can't just put it all on there as 3D. because it takes a tremendous amount of data. And so what I do is I process it into an MP3 or MP4 format. And to do that, as you go through, you've got to tell it exactly what you want it to be looking at. Because I think they just updated the program here recently, because this particular video, I was watching it last night. And in the past, when you turn, the camera keeps looking where you were going. So you've got to go in and tell it, okay, I want you to turn. Well, in this particular video, for some reason, it's following where I went, which was kind of neat, because that way I can turn it into an MP4 file, make a YouTube out of it real easy. Now, there's a tremendous amount to learn with all these cameras, and there's other cameras on the market. There's a lot of competitors in the 360 market, as well as in the just shooting standard video market. I've always had good luck with GoPro, and so I use GoPro. All of these programs, for instance, this one right here, allows you the ability to do all sorts of things. Speed film up, zoom in, zoom out, just all sorts of neat things. You can actually take this program right here and make it focus on one of those tires, and that's where it will be focused at, no matter where the airplane's going. Yes?
What's the name of that program?
This is a Insta360 Studio. It's a free program when you have the Insta360 camera, and it's a free program they put out. What happens with the 360 camera is you have to process that before you put it on YouTube or as an MP4. You've got to convert it to an MP4 format. Now, if you have a short video, and you see a lot of 360 videos, but most of them are a few seconds at the most, maybe a minute or two. And the 360, in the 360 format, is typically a very short video, because it's a tremendous amount of data. Now, this right here, we'll jump ahead a little bit here, but this right here, I was flying yesterday morning, and I had a GoPro mounted up front. That was the other one you're seeing. And then I had this Insta360 back here. So I had two cameras in two different places, and what I try to do is, my theory is, one of those two cameras is going to get some good video to tell the story that I want to tell. Now, you will notice that this is following the airplane quite closely, and the secret is when it turns. If it follows it when it turns, that right there makes, in my mind, a great situation, because it makes it very easy to turn it into an MP4 and then turn that into a YouTube video. Now, when you're shooting the video, you've got the audio portion of it to determine what you're going to do with. One of the things I've done is I've taken my GoPros and I'll connect it to an intercom, or a system where you have a passenger with you, where you can talk to each other, and then tie the GoPro into that. I don't have anybody with me, but I can talk on that while I'm flying and put those words directly on YouTube. Most of the time what I do is I will play the video and watch it and put the words I want to say on my iPhone, and then I will transfer it over and put it on the video in an audio format. Now, you need to know the audience you're trying to reach. When I first started putting videos together for YouTube's, everybody loved music. At least that's what I thought, and I've been told. And I discovered that there's a lot of people who love airplane noises. They didn't like the music, but they love airplane noises. And so I use the natural airplane noises. Now, if you speed them up, then you start losing that ability for the noise, so you have to do something to make up for it. But almost every video I make is just the airplane noise, because that's what the people who watch my videos, that's what they want. Now, when I first got involved with this, back in 2012, I had the opportunity to talk to the GoPro people, and they were telling me that the longest video you should see is about 2 or 3 minutes, and that 1 minute for a video is ideal. And so over the years, I've made long videos and short videos, and every time with the people that watch my videos, they want to see the long ones. If I take a long video, and I'm talking anywhere from 20 minutes to maybe 2 hours, it'll get a lot of views. But if I take that video, the same video, and take a 1 minute clip out of it, take the most exciting part, it don't get too many views at all. And it just has to do with your customer base. I get feedback from people. A lot of the people that watch my videos, they will either be building on an airplane, and they've got a TV over the corner, and they're watching my videos to give motivation. The other thing I run into, a few years ago here in Oshkosh, a young man come up to me, and he was over in the other side of the world, over in Guam, I believe it was, and they were rebuilding C-130s gunships, and they worked many hours a day, like 12 hours on, 12 hours off. Well, when they were off shift, the whole entire group that they was with watched my videos. They wanted long, they wanted airplane, they wanted just something fun. And one of the things that on an ultralight you can't do with you, but you can carry a camera. So one of my goals is to be able to tell the story of flying an ultralight. Exciting things and fun things that can be done with an ultralight. And over the years, I have been here at Oshkosh, but I've flown over the Atlantic Ocean, I've flown over the Pacific Ocean, I flew into Kitty Hawk, I've flown into Monument Valley, Utah, and I've been up to 11,000 feet plus up in Ely, Nevada. And all of those make some real neat videos. But they all tell a story. And the thing is telling that story so that someone somewhere can look at it and say, wow, I didn't watch that, that's neat. I'd like to do that also. Now, I'm going to close out of this right here, and we'll go back over to the other program. One of the things that I use is SSD drive to save my data. Now, a lot of people will use a cable to transfer their data from their camera over to the computer. I tend to take the chip out of the computer and put it, or out of the camera and put it in the computer and transfer it from the chip directly to my hard drive on the computer. Now, you can do it either way. In the past, I've run into problems with formatting when I try to move it with a cable. And I've never had a problem with formatting when I move it on the chip. But how you actually move it, that's entirely up to you. Now, once it's in the computer, then you've got to move it to a program and to be able to edit it. The editing part of all of this, when I started out, GoPro had a program that was free. It was a simple little program, and it took me forever to learn how to use it. But I eventually done it, and I thought I was in great shape. And then GoPro decided, we're not going to support that anymore. So I tried several different programs, and some of them, they were all very similar. And some of them were easy to learn, and some of them were difficult to learn. Well, this Filmora Wondershare is a program that I found. You have to pay for it. It's about $35 a year. but I have been using this program for probably about 8 years, and I just love it. Now, the other programs that I use and I experiment all basically have the same concepts. The first thing you got to do is move your information into the program, and knowing where you store your information is important, and then getting it moved over there. Now, this right here, what I'm doing is I'm going to move this file from yesterday. The first half of this video we was just watching earlier over here, and one of the things that happens is the data. When I first started doing this, a typical video was maybe 15, 20 megabytes, and they've grown. And it's not unusual to have videos that are in the, I don't have any in the terabyte, but what happens is, when I first started doing this, it started in megabytes, and it moved up to gigabytes, and now all of my hard drives that I use are like 1, 2, or 7 terabytes. They're getting big, and the thing that happens is you need a computer that's got some pretty good speed. Now, I have moved this over to this file. I'm going to go to the first part of this and click on that, and I'm going to delete that. And so this right here is where I started that video yesterday. Now, one of the things that I have had problems, and as you shoot videos, you'll probably find the same thing. Every once in a while, you'll get your cameras turned on, you'll do everything you're supposed to. And you'll go flying and you get some beautiful shots, and you come back, and guess what? The camera wasn't running. Well, one of the things I always do is I get in front of the camera and I make sure when I turn it on, it's turned on. Because over the years, I've had way too many times when I get it going, the little lights flashing, hey, that thing's running. I'll go flying and I come back and it might have been running in, but a few seconds later it shut off. So I always get in front of the camera, make sure it's working, make sure everything was supposed to be, and I wait a little bit before I actually start filming what I want to film. In this particular case, I was out there yesterday, and this, almost any of the programs that you're going to find, you've got to move your video into the computer. And that's fairly simple on almost all the programs. Once you get it moved into the computer, that's where it gets a little bit more difficult. With the Filmora product, what happens, and some of the other ones, you import the media. You can drag it and drop it, or you can import it. And what I've done here is import the media. And it's just a matter of moving the file over to this particular program. Now, there's a bunch of settings, and the Filmora program has a tremendous amount of things you can do with it. For instance, right now you can see this timeline down here where I copied this or moved this video to, and I'll remove this right now. What we have, these are the two files that I moved over there. And to move that file from down here to the timeline, you come up here and you click on that and you move it down there. Okay, now you're good to go. But what you can do, you can come over here and make that much shorter or much longer. And what happens is that right there is 12 and a half, almost 13 minutes of flying. And depending on what you're doing, if you're doing something in real detail, you might want to space it way out. That way you can look at it almost on a frame-by-frame basis if you want to. On this particular program, what happens is you can go through and find And it's like, okay, I want to start this video up here closer to where I started the takeoff roll. And so what I'm doing is going up here to the front of it. I can step along here, and this is where I turn to go down the runway. So what I can do is cut this right here. And you can cut it with this, or you can cut it up here. And almost all programs will have a place to cut it. And when you cut it, then you can get rid of the first part of that. And what happens, it's no longer part of this little file here. It's still in the computer. You haven't affected it at all. You can go back and re-bring it in if you want to. But I have just taken that particular part off. And so what you can do is you've got the takeoff here. And if my goal is to show the takeoff and getting to the end of the runway, what I can do is get down here at the end of the runway, maybe right in here I can stop it, and I can say, okay, that shows me going down the runway, getting off the ground. So now I can come up here and I can cut it again, and I can take that completely out. Now, all the programs typically have a way to undo. And you can, depending on the programs and your computer speeds, you can undo clear back to where you started. And so you can't really do anything wrong. In this case, I'm going to delete this. Now, that's the takeoff. Let's go get the landing. And what happens is you can go through here and zoom through it and find the landing. And you figure out where you want to start your landing part of this. And let's just start it right there. You get rid of the parts you don't want, and you pick up the landing part. Now, the thing that happens is you can do this in the normal speed, or you can speed it up. Because of things are happening pretty quick right here, I'm just going to do it in normal speed. And when you get down and you want to stop this, and I'm going to stop somewhere right in here as we turn off the runway. I'm going to cut that and get rid of this. Now this little bitty video right here, what I can do is come up here and I can stretch that out to have something with more detail to work on. One of the things you always want to do is save your video, because it's a lot of fun to work on a video. It's like, oh wow, this is neat. You turn it into an MP4 so you can export it, or you export it to YouTube or wherever you want to, your file. You forget to save it. And you find something, it's like, oh darn, I put a title in there, now I want to change a word. It's like, it's all gone if you haven't saved it. So you got to go in and redo the whole thing. Now, on this particular video, and any of the programs, all of them are very similar, but you can go up here at the top and you'll notice stock media. Well, stock media, that's stuff, if you wanted to add a whatever there that they have as a standard picture or stock video, you can add that. But for what I'm doing in most aviation, I don't think they add too much of that. Under the audio, if you take I have an iPhone, so I talk into my iPhone and say, you know, this is where I bounced real bad, or where I almost hit the bird, and you put that and you send it to the computer as like a voicemail. Then you just add it as a file, just like we did the other files, and put it in this area here. And what you do, I'll take and move this down here. I haven't downloaded any of that content, so it's not there. But anyway, I don't have any in the database right now, but you put it in there and you just download it. think of them as your video files. Under titles, what happens is they have a ton of titles, all kinds of shapes, sizes, configuration. You can get as fancy as you want, but what I do is I keep mine simple, and mine are under custom. And so what I do is I will pick a title here, and the title, when I click on it, just like I did the file, it comes into where it belongs. And you can move that if you want to. You can move to the front, the back. In this case, I like to have mine in the front so that when you play this, it comes up right there. Now, you can change the wording on those. If you want to change the wording, you double click on it. You under titles, and here's where you change the wording. You can change font size, colors, anything you want to, there's all kinds of options there, and that's kind of up to your imagination what you want to do. But on this particular program, by right-clicking, you can change the duration. It's set at 8 seconds right now, and you can change that to longer or shorter. We'll change that to 4 seconds. And now, it all pops up and goes away in 4 seconds. Now, the other thing that's real neat is down here, the transition between the two. We're flying along here, taking off, and all of a sudden, whoop, we're landing. So what you do is you add a transition. And you've got to highlight your area that you want to apply the transition to, and you come up to transition, and I use a lot of fade. And so you click on the plus, just like you did whether it's a file, an audio file, a video file, and you add it right here. And that's what this thing right here is. And you can see it a little bit right there, but that's the transition. So now what we can do is we transition from one to the other. And there's all kinds of different transitions you can use. It all becomes a matter of imagination. And when we get to the end of the video, you can come down here and you can click up here, and it pops down to the end. So when we get to the end, we can let it just die, go away, or we can put a transition. So you highlight that, and we'll put this one down here this time. This is a dissolve. So what happens is now we're going to dissolve at the end of it. So at the end of our video, it just kind of goes away. Now, as we come back here, and we can go back a little bit at a time, or we can come all the way back. We have a video here, and if this is all the information you want on there, then you come in here to export. Now, the other thing I need to show you, there's all kinds of effects, and a lot of this stuff is online, so you have to download it. And a lot of it I do not use. You've got filters, and you've got stickers, and you've got templates. And I don't use any of those, but they're all available. And you can do some very exotic stuff if you're so inclined. We'll go back to the media here. What you do when you get it like you want it, you export it. And when you export it, you've got to give it a name. And we're going to call this is a resolution of 1920 by 1080 and 25 frames per second. All of that is changeable. If you want higher quality video or lower quality video, you can change it right here. I tend to use the 1920 by 1080. Sometimes when I get a real nice high quality video, I will up that a little bit. A lot of times YouTube doesn't get into the higher quality. They take your higher quality and download it or do something to reduce it to a lower quality. So even though you've loaded a high quality, high definition video, when you look at it, it will be different than the 1920 by 1080. So that's something to pay attention to as they shift that around. Anyway, you export it, and what happens is you export it. It generally don't take too long on a short video like this. If you have a video that's an hour, hour and a half long, it can take a while. And in this case, it is now converted. So that video that we just prepared is right here in the file folder. And that right there is the video we just made. And it's ready to be put up on YouTube or Facebook or put it on a USB drive or whatever. And that's what we just made. Now, longer videos work the same way. And you can very easily put your written information, titles, words, voice, music, whatever you want to make that video meet your story goal. Now, we'll go to the end of this one, and then here's the transition out of it. Now, sometimes what I will do is take a video, and this here is like 1920 to 1080. I'll take the same video and redo it at a much higher setting to see if the quality changes. One of the things you got to be aware of is sometimes, and I don't understand this, but sometimes when you transfer a video, make a video, turn it into an MP4 like that, what you see right then and there on the screen is not near as pretty as it is a few hours later. So I think for something where it's processing in the background and it takes a little while to get everything where it belongs. But sometimes I'll do that just to see what the differences are. Now, we'll move out of this and we'll move over. This is a 360 camera. And the 360 camera, one of the things using a 360 camera, it has a lens on both sides. And you got to be real careful because with the lens on both sides, it's very easy to scratch one side or the other. One of the things I like about the Insta360 X3 is there's a little rubber cover that comes with it. It's real easy to just slip on there and protect the lens when you're not using it. The other thing that I like about the 360 cameras, they tend to be quite easy to start and stop, to turn on. And I don't seem to have as many camera didn't starts as I do with the GoPro. Now, the only thing I have kind of as a downside on the 360 is the fact that you have to go through and tell it where to go. But I'm not sure, there's been some updates on the 360 lately, and you notice it's following the airplane pretty good. If your goal is to sit behind the airplane and show the airplane flying, it's doing a real good job. And so what we'll do is we'll take a few seconds of this video right here and we'll turn it into an MP4. What happens on this particular program, you can start and stop it over here just like all of them. And then over here, it's where you mark your timeline in or out. So if we back up just a tad bit until we're behind where this thing, right here where we enter the corner, and we mark ourselves in, you notice all this disappeared back here behind? And we'll go forward a few minutes or seconds, whatever. And here we are coming around the corner, and this thing is doing an ideal job of following where we're headed. And so what happens now, the turbulence there, there was an airplane up in front of me and I got into his prop wash. Okay, we're going to do our timeline out. Now you notice all that disappeared. Now what we're going to do is we're going to hit this right here, and this we're going to change where this is going and move it into here where it says 360, and we're going to select that folder, and now this automatically comes up and gives it a name, but you can change that to anything you want. I'm going to change it to FLT1 360, and then get rid of all the rest of that. And so what happens, I've got this one set at 1920 1080, 25 frames per second, and again I can change all that, but for purposes of what we're doing, we will take that little bit of a video right there and convert it. And over here you see a percentage. Well, that's how much of it, the percentage of it being converted. And you notice it sat there for a while and then it took off, and it's not taking very long at all to convert that. Now, the thing that happens is if we go over and look at that file, see, this is the video that comes out of that. And so this now becomes the MP4 that you put into the other program and add your words, your headings, your titles, music, sounds, whatever you want to put in there. And you end up with an ideal video. And so in this particular case, this is probably going to come out to be a pretty nice video. Now what we'll do is we'll go back to this one, and what we'll do is we want to bring all that back. So what you can do is come up here and edit it and undo. And we want to, in this case, we'll go, we will edit it, undo again. See, we've got all that back. So now what we can do is move this back before that turn. Work our way up to that turn again. And we'll cut ourselves in here. Only this time, let's take a look at what the prop wash that we got in. And we got an airplane over there. So let's take a look at him for a little bit. See, he was in the process of passing me. And he got in front of me, and that's the prop wash I had. Now, we'll stop right here. Over here, there's all kinds of controls. There's a key frame where you set a key frame. There's a beat track, and a beat track, if you want to have the camera follow something like, oh, maybe this area right here, or that airplane going by, or a wheel, or the engine, or something over in the distance, you pick that and set this beat track, and it will go. That's all. That's what it will be centered on until you tell it to stop. Now, in this particular case, we're not going to do that, but that's available. Now, you've also got a time shift. And the time shift, they have changed a little bit on me. But, and then you have a motion. And I don't use any of that too much. In this particular case, I didn't quite understand there, but anyway, because I want to get back here. And so what we'll do is we'll come back here and we'll do a okay, so we got that airplane over there. And what happens is we can turn this and look behind ourselves. Now, when I come down here, and I'm going to export this, and we're going to call this 360-2, and we'll start the exports, shouldn't take too long here, and we're flying along, and you notice that airplane passed us, but it hasn't changed. It's still looking forward. And one of the things when you're working with the 360, sometimes it doesn't necessarily do exactly what you want it to do. This over here serves the same function as it does on the Wondershare program, the Filmora Wondershare. When I can do this, and I actually, the first part of this, I want it looking over here, and looking at that airplane, and what happens if I put a keyframe in here, and I'm going to set that as the live crystal ball. There's all sorts of neat things you can do. I'm going to set this as the default view. And so what happens is this video starts here, goes to here, and what I want to do is I'm going to set it back here, and my intent is to set this as a default view. So what should happen is we should be looking to the side and then turn to the back. Now, when we export that, and we're going to call this 363, now you can imagine going through all this on, say, a 1 hour long video. It's just kind of fun. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll take out little parts and pieces and patch it into just a normal video. Now, okay, we got it looking to the side, and what it should do is start to turn to the back. And so there's just all kinds of things you can do with the 360 camera, but they take time. Now this video right here, you can put it on YouTube just like this, but you don't have the words, and if you want to add stuff to it, what I do is I always take these videos and then move them over to my Filmora program and process them just as a standard video. Now, what are you using these programs? I know that there's programs out there that GoPro 360 camera uses. I don't think it's this one, but it operates very similar to this. Almost all of them operate very similar. There's a lot of different programs that allows you to do a lot of different things with the 360 cameras. And same thing with the GoPros. So the processing is kind of it's just limited by your imagination and what you want to do, and what you want to put into it. Same thing with taking the videos. Now, I'm going to stop a little bit here. Are there any questions that I can answer? Yes?
I apologize for coming in late. Could you discuss the tow camera?
The what?
The tow camera?
Oh, I talked a little bit about it. My chase cam, many years ago I was at Oshkosh, and the powered parachutes out here were pulling a camera behind them and getting some beautiful pictures. And at the time, it was the first year I brought my legal eagle here, and I was getting interviewed. And after the interview, we were just BSing, and I said, yeah, I've always wanted to, I'd like to know more about that. And so the guy took me over and introduced me to one of the guys that had a powered parachute with one of those chase cams. And so it's like, oh, that's neat. So I went back and I made 28 different iterations before I got one that actually worked on my legal eagle. And fortunately on legal eagle, I'm only flying long at like maybe 60 miles an hour at the most, and most of the time 40 to 50 miles an hour. And so I have what I call a chase cam, and several of my videos. Now, if you're interested in seeing any of my videos, they're on eagleflyingadventures.com. But what happens is I'm able to put it out behind my airplane and get video of my airplane. And if you don't have a clear blue sky, if you got clouds or mountains or something around you, you get some pretty neat video. Sometimes with a beautiful sunset or sunrise, but it's not a real good, you got to have an open airplane where you can get what it is. And I don't know that I do that on a manufactured airplane. With the ultralights, we're kind of in a different category, and you don't pay too much attention to this stuff. Anyway, I don't advertise it or push it too much, because it's one of those things that I think if too many people start doing it, the FAA will take an interest, and I think the FAA already has written rules and regulations about blowing stuff behind airplanes or pulling stuff. And, anyway, it makes some neat pictures once in a while. Any other questions?
And how fast is your laptop in order to render the fairly new laptop?
This is a fairly new laptop, and it's, I forget the speed, but it's an MSI. It's a gaming computer, and it's one of their faster ones. What happened when I got it, the last one I had, I got from a computer company, and they had taken all the garbage off of it that you get with a computer. Well, this one, I just bought it myself, and it don't have all that garbage. It still has all that garbage in the background. So what happens is it's not near as fast as it should be, because there's just all kinds of garbage running around in there that is not needed. And I could probably take some of it off, but it's like, okay, it's slow sometimes, but it does what I want it to do. One of the things, the computer I had before this one was about 4 years old, and it was getting a little bit slower. It was an MSI. The one I had before that, it got to a point where it was hardly moving, and it was another MSI, but it was getting, I bought it probably 10 years back from now. So you need a fairly decent computer. Now, one of the other things, let me take this loose here. This little hard drive right there, that is a 2 terabyte SSD. And I got that from Costco. I saw them at Sam's Club. You can get them at Best Buy, all sorts of places. But one of the things that I did that sped up my video processes substantially was moving from a standard disk type hard drive to the SSDs. And also the USB connection you have can make a big difference. Any more questions? Well, I'm going to call it quits here, and thank you all for coming to the seminar. And if you have any questions that I can answer, on my YouTube channel, I do have a couple videos of how to use this program, and I'll probably be putting some more on there. I understand that DaVinci has a program that's free, and I intended to play with it before I come up here, but I've been busy doing certain things and haven't got to do that. But there are free programs out there and places that you can use. Most of the free programs are somewhat limited, and there's a lot of other programs that are available.
So there's a free program that's got a lot of features called CapCut, C-A-P-C-U-T.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, I'm just saying, because it's like, I know there's the DaVinci Resolve has got their free program, but this is another one.
Yeah. So, anyway, however you do it, go shoot some video and process it, and let's see it on YouTube, Facebook, or it's kind of neat. Okay, well, yes.
If other people have YouTube pages, can you share those so we can look at everybody else's pages?
I can't read yet.
If other people have YouTube pages, can we share those so we can subscribe and we can watch other people's videos?
Okay, well that's, I think what she's saying is if anybody has YouTube pages, let us know what they are so we can enjoy it.
And what's yours again?
Mine is LegalEagleFlyingAdventures.com. And I started this many years ago, kind of accidentally. I made the first flight in my Legal Eagle, and I had a little video camera, and I had it mounted up there. It wasn't very good, and it's like, what am I going to do with this? I don't know. Let's put it on YouTube. Everybody's talking about that, and that kind of got the ball rolling. And I've got, I think, about 429 videos right now on all sorts of different things. And the Legal Eagle is an ideal airplane to shoot video from. And it'd be nice to carry a passenger, but I can't, so I can carry a camera. Okay, thank you.
The camera is lighter. The camera is lighter.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.